Hi, it's Rob here with another video, and I want to do a response to Norman Maslow and Todd at the Lost Mixtapes. So Mazzy did a video about a week ago now where he was showing CDs that he wanted on vinyl. So I've got hundreds of CDs and there's a number of them that I'd like to get on vinyl. A lot of the time they were only released in limited numbers, so now to pick up these CDs on vinyl you're talking £200-300 in most cases, some cases even more than that. There's one or two that have never had a vinyl release. A lot of these are sort of from the 2000s, the early 2000s period, when it was really a CD age, not as many records being purchased, but that's changed. Obviously there's a lot of reissues every week. REM are doing a campaign at the moment, and sometimes you're just waiting for particular albums to be reissued. So I've got 10 here. See what you think. First one I want to show is Morrissey and You Are the Quarry from 2004. So when this came out, there was actually 10,000 copies released. So there was a few. Irish Blood, Irish Heart, First of the Gang to Die. I remember when those two singles came out, I just thought we got our Morrissey back. I also love The Image. Not quite the same on a CD. And this is a great return to form for Morrissey. A 7-year gap. When this came out, I couldn't get enough of it. You Are the Quarry by Morrissey. Next one I want to show is also from 2004. It's Tears for Fears. Everyone loves a happy ending. And this is my favourite Tears for Fears album. Very Beatlesque. Very much like Sowing the Seeds of Love. But I went to see Tears for Fears when they toured this album in the mid-2000s. And they were fantastic live. I know The Tipping Point came out, was it last year? To a lot of plaudits, but I couldn't quite get into that album the same. I think this is such a great album. I think it had a very minor release on vinyl. If you want to get a copy of it now, good luck. But it's coming up to 20 years, so maybe this might get a reissue next year. Tracks on here. Secret World is my favourite. Closest Thing to Heaven. Call Me Mellow. As I say, it's got a very Beatles feel to it, but don't let that put you off. It's a really good album by Tears for Fears from 2004. 2 years earlier, 2002, we've got Richard Ashcroft and Human Condition. So the Verve frontman, second album. I bought this as soon as it came out. I love the track Check the Meaning. I did buy some 7-inch singles from this album. I wish I bought the album on vinyl. Check the Meaning, fantastic opening track. Buy It in Bottles. And also Science of Silence. 3 great singles from this album. They also got Brian Wilson involved in the final track, Nature's a Law. He recorded it from LA, sent it over to Richard Ashcroft, probably in Wigan somewhere. But yeah, one of my favourite albums of the 2000s. I'd queue up all night to get this one on vinyl. Human Condition by Richard Ashcroft. Here's a band whose albums seem to get reissued every year or two. It's the Super Furry Animals. And Phantom Power is being reissued next month, and that came out in 2003. So this is 2007. Hey Venus, the 9th album by the Super Furry Animals. So might have to wait a couple of years for this one to come out on vinyl. This was the album that really got me into the Super Furry Animals. Runaway, Show Your Hand, Baby Ate My 8 Ball. It's more poppy, very sort of accessible. If you've never heard a Super Furry Animals album, Some of the albums can be a little bit of take a bit of time, but this one's very instant. Got a lot of appeal, very commercial sounding, and it's my favourite. So yeah, Hey Venice by the Super Furry Animals. The fifth one I want to show is by my favourite artist. It's Paul Weller, Studio 150. So this is named after a studio in Amsterdam where it was recorded. This is a covers album. I do have a single from this album, Wishing on a Star, the Rolls Royce track. Thinking of You, Sister Sledge tracks on here. Close to You, the Carpenters track. The Bottle, Gil Scott Heron. This got mixed reception when it came out, but in 2004. So this one again could get reissued next year. There are copies of it floating around, but you probably need upwards of £300 to get a copy. So that's a little bit out of my budget at the moment. But Paul Weller does reissue albums pretty often, and don't be surprised if this one gets reissued next year. Sixth one I want to show is the Manic Street Preachers from '96, Everything Must Go. So this is my favourite Manics CD album. Really got into this in the mid-90s. Designed for Life, Kevin Carter, Australia. This got reissued 1,000 copies, I believe, on blue vinyl in 2016. But if you want a copy of this, it might cost you a couple of £100 maybe. I would like this to be reissued again. Everything Must Go by the Manic Street Preachers. Mamuna is an album by Brian Ferry. So I really do like Brian Ferry. This one's from '94. So again, this one could be a 30-year anniversary release next year. I know Taxi came out on Record Store Day last year. So who knows? This one could come out. This is such a good Brian Ferry album. All the previous members of Roxy Music appear on it. Even Brian Eno's on here. So really recommend checking this one out. And hopefully it will get a reissue on vinyl very soon. Number 8 is Cole's Corner by Richard Hawley. So he's a little bit of a crooner, I suppose. Got his own style, from Sheffield, South Yorkshire. Used to be a member of a band called the Lone Pigs. Also in Pulp for a while. This is his third album. I remember I was on holiday in Rhodes. Had this on my iPod. Just fell in love with the album, especially the track, The Ocean. Absolutely love that track. So Cole's Corner is a place in Sheffield where people used to meet on a first date. So there's places in Oldham and Manchester. You see people stood around waiting to meet somebody. And but funnily enough, on that cover, that's actually a theatre in Scarborough. So I'm not too sure why they use that. But yeah, I'm not sure how popular Richard Hawley is in America or in Europe, but he's well worth checking out. Richard Hawley and Cole's Corner. 2 to go. I don't think these two have ever been released on vinyl. The Pretenders from 2002, Loose Screw. So this is a Pretenders album that I really like. It's not very well thought of in the catalogue, but I remember buying it pretty soon after it came out. I really enjoyed it. It's been hidden away for a while, so now I've got it out for this video. I'll put it in the car and give it a few plays, because I really do like this album by the Pretenders. The Losing is a great track. Time. Nothing Breaks Like a Heart. Hopefully, I don't see why this can't be released on vinyl. From 2002, the 8th album by the Pretenders, Loose Screw. And finally, an album that was so bad the band broke up. It's Super by the Beautiful South. So I absolutely love that cover. I've got a thing for buses, and I would love to see that 12 inches. But this album came out in 2006. It was not very well received. There's a track on here called Manchester. So that's a great song. Sort of names many areas in the Manchester area. Even mentions Chadderton, which is where I'm from. But yeah, it's Sunk Without a Trace, and the band split up very soon after this was released. But yeah, I'd like it to have a vinyl release, the 10th album by the beautiful South, Super Bye. So 10 albums that I'd like to be released on vinyl. As I say, a lot of them are available on vinyl, but I just don't have pockets deep enough to pay £200-300 for a record. And I hope and pray that those CDs are brought out on vinyl pretty soon. So if you've got any comments about what I showed, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.